One of the writers who I've been focusing on this year is Thomas Middleton. Middleton spent the late 1500s and the early 1600s writing a series of plays, some of which are not very well known, others have a bit more fame, but honestly, he is a very talented writer. The problem is, of course, that in this time period, there are a few names who surpass everyone else. But on a side note, I think Middleton's Revenger's Tragedy is one of my favorite plays of his. Just like Hamlet and Titus, it deals with the ambiguity of morality in revenge, and it looks at how people are motivated not necessarily by good or evil, but simply by selfishness or lust or pride. It's a very interesting play, and I recommend you read it if you haven't. And I would also recommend watching the movie that British filmmaker Alex Cox made based on the Revenger's Tragedy. In the true spirit of bringing old plays into a modern setting, the Revenger's Tragedy doesn't take place in Italy, but instead takes place in Liverpool during what I can only assume is a modern punk age. The play follows a man who has lost his beloved due to an old duke's horrible nature, and so he vows revenge against the duke and his family. The main character's name is Vindici, and he is played in the movie by legendary actor Christopher Eccleston, who I consider to be the British equivalent of Vincent Cassel. Hiding his identity from almost everybody in the play except for his brother, Vindici goes on a mission to finally get his revenge on the Duke and the Duke's extended family. By extended family, of course, I mean his two sons, one legitimate, one illegitimate, and also his second wife and his second wife's sons. It's a very dark and twisted family, gleefully corrupting the justice system to get away with crimes. And for the most part, it's really hard to determine who is more in the wrong when you look at all the characters in general. Now, of course, the most obvious comparison to make to this movie is Hamlet, but unlike what Shakespeare did, Thomas Middleton doesn't stray from the fact that Vindici's revenge is not morally right. It's true that Hamlet's revenge is also seen as ambiguous, but I think Middleton went further than Shakespeare did with his play. Of course, Hamlet is an amazing play, and obviously Middleton was inspired by Hamlet writing the play. I just think both works are very good and worth checking out. Revenger's Tragedy, the movie, of course, goes the way of modernizing Shakespeare, and unlike what Baz Luhrmann did with Romeo and Juliet, I actually liked what Alex Cox did with The Revenger's Tragedy. Aside from Christopher Eccleston, we also get Eddie Izzard playing the eldest son of the Duke, who himself is played by Derek Jacobi. While Eccleston plays Vindici in a way that kind of combines Iago with Hamlet, Lotharioso, as played by Izzard, is a much more straightforward character, if such a thing can be said. Lotharioso is by far the most intelligent and most worthy of the sons to succeed the Duke. Derek Jacobi, meanwhile, plays a very camp version of the Duke, but all the same he does not stray from the fact that the Duke is a lustful old man. The rest of the cast is made up of the likes of Mark Warren and Stephen Graham, and everybody really does a good job going over the top, because that's the only way a play like this can exist in the atmosphere that Cox created. Alex Cox is well known for his cult movies like Repo Man, and honestly, this version of Revenger's Tragedy doesn't stray very far from that same kind of feeling. In my case, I really liked the play, and while obviously the movie takes a lot of liberties with the play, because how else can you put this play in a movie under 2 hours long, I still like what the movie did. I thought it was very creative and very interesting, and it kept the ideas intact, as well as also adding in a bit of social commentary on our modern-day society. Overall, I would say it's a great movie, worth checking out. And if you haven't read any Thomas Middleton plays, but you're still interested in that Shakespearean era, I would very much recommend that you check some of them out.